We've had a ton of new LEGO sets for adults announced lately. I've built some of these myself, and I even got an early look at a few. I'm going to give each one a bronze, silver, or gold based on design, building techniques, and how interesting they are. And every now and then, one is so good it earns something even higher, so let's see where all of these rank. First up, we have a Venom bust, and I did get a chance to put it together. It's got Venom's likeness with the sharp teeth and the crazy tongue, and it does come with a Venom minifig as well, which looks pretty good. You know, honestly, the design looks great, probably one of the better busts that they've made in this lineup. But here's my thing with the busts. They're just not as interesting as a helmet or a full figure. That's really the only reason I'm going to put it at a silver instead of anything higher. It's not the model itself, it's just the whole bust idea. Alright, next up we have a set that brings us a new wave of Pokemon, this time with Munchlax. This little guy is the smallest of the new Pokemon line, and it has like this kind of small side build as well. I don't know, something about this round shape just works really well in LEGO form. It's honestly pretty adorable. For nailing the look in such a small package, I'm gonna give it a gold. Looks great. We also have Snoopy this time around up on his famous red doghouse, and of course we can't forget his little sidekick, Woodstock. There are a few ways to show it off, and the doghouse itself looks better than I expected, but Snoopy doesn't have a mouth, so he looks kind of blank and lifeless to me. But nostalgia is definitely carrying the set. It's not too bad. I think this one is a bronze overall, but it's still a great set for fans. We've got another Star Wars helmet in this batch with the very famous AT-RT driver helmet, and I'm totally kidding, I have no idea who this guy is. But no matter how good the build is, it's just not that exciting to look at for most casual fans, and that's going to put it at a bronze for me. I could see it being a silver though, especially if you collect helmets. I would imagine you would probably like this one. Next up, we have some hanging leaves with a botanical set that's quite a bit different. I do like that it's a hanging plant instead of another one in a vase, which is a fresh look for this line. It's a silver for me and is a fun one if you're into that kind of look. There's also a dark flower arrangement. It's a moody black and purple set of flowers with a nice rose in there, and it's got kind of like a gothic vibe that would be perfect for fall. Still, it looks great, and I'm gonna put it at a silver. And to add more variety to the group, we do have these woodland mushrooms, and they sold pretty quick when they dropped. The way they use the pieces is pretty smart, and the colors all work together beautifully. I think this is a sleeper of the bunch of this like piece range, and for me it's an easy gold. So in this piece range, I don't know if busts are fully winning me over yet, but I was pleasantly surprised with Venom. Moving up to the sets that top out around 1,500 pieces, this is where a lot of the big name franchises are going to show up. First up, I did build this Triceratops dinosaur fossil, and it's a good size for a shelf. It does come with a minifig and does have a fun little hidden Easter egg. It's got a ton of detail for how small it is, and it was a pretty smooth and enjoyable build. But I will say it's not as sturdy as the T-Rex was either, but it still displays great from just about every angle, so let's put it at a silver. Now, if you've ever wanted to see what ET could look like in LEGO form, well, here he is. I would imagine that getting a shape like ET correct is really hard to do in LEGO, and I think they pulled it off. That glowing heart is such a cool touch as well. It's going to be probably a niche pickup, but it's one of the best character models of the year for me, and it's going to get a gold. Okay, here's a fun surprise that kind of came out of left field, but we're going to get an X-Files diorama. Up top, we have this UFO with a creepy alien scene, along with an investigator's office down below. Looking through this office, it looks like there are a ton of Easter eggs packed in, along with a bunch of interesting characters, and the way that they built it looks like it's going to be a good time. For now, I'm going to call it a gold just because it's so unique, and it's going to bring a lot of memories flooding back for a lot of fans. Keeping up with the space theme, I also built this Tintin moon rocket from the classic series. The minifigs look awesome, and this little snowy dog looks great. The only thing that holds it back for me is that there's no stand and not really any extra accessories or vehicles, so it does feel a little bare. I think it's more of a silver tiered set overall. We also have a Hubble Space Telescope, which is the first one of these at minifig scale. It does have a removable bay with some details inside, the solar panels can be moved around, and it's got this cool little astronaut. I do wish that it had metallic pieces to be a bit more realistic, but you know what, let's put this as a silver rank overall, which is definitely good. I think space fans are gonna really enjoy this one. Believe it or not, after all these years, we finally have a Shrek set. I've seen a lot of chatter online about the minifig being out of scale next to the big eyes, which is gonna throw off the scene a bit. I think it is great for what it is, and I'm gonna give it a silver, but if you grew up on these movies, the Shrek and Donkey designs look great. Alright, here's something that I was definitely not expecting this year. We've got a Donkey Kong arcade. The level design looks spot on and honestly looks like it's going to be a blast to build. The interactivity is a cherry on top and definitely bumps the setup to a gold. My only real knock so far is that the cabinet doesn't look quite as premium as the Pac-Man one did, but it still captures that retro vibe, so I mean, it's alright. Next up is Arcanine from the Pokemon series, and I would say that this is another good addition to the lineup. It does look like it's fully posable, and I would say that the design looks pretty good when we compare it to the side-by-side. It's going to earn a gold on the design alone, and it does seem like it's going to display pretty well next to the others. We also have this Rayquaza scene, and it's pretty tall and the body bends and moves kind of like you would expect. And there's no doubt that this will look great on a shelf for a collector, and even the base looks great. Instead of just being something to hold it up, it's a nice little scene. I think this one earns a gold for the design and the unique look. Okay, now if you're a fan of the Winter Village collection every Christmas season, like my wife and I are, you're gonna be really happy to hear that this one is kicking off a brand new Halloween line that they're calling Midnight Valley. The first one in this line is this crooked, spooky manor with some characters that fit the vibe. And part of me wants to give it a gold given that it's launching a new series and it does look good for what it is, but I'm gonna keep it at a silver for now. Speaking of Halloween, we have a set that celebrates the day after. The way that this La Katrina set is built is genuinely clever. It's got good design. I'm not quite sure how large the appeal is going to be for this overall, so I'm gonna slot it into a silver. Next up, we have an abstract architecture set that's based on the Big Apple itself, New York City. The skyline is in front of this big apple-shaped night sky, which is an interesting idea, but that backdrop to me kind of steals the show from the actual skyline. Let's give it a bronze. Unless this artsy abstract direction is really your thing, maybe you would rank it higher. You might see one of these in the city itself, but you've got to check out the realistic design on this huge road bike. The pedals and chain actually work, which is kind of crazy. The design and engineering here are genuinely fantastic. There's no arguing that. But at the end of the day, this is a bicycle. You're going to have to like something like that to pop it up on a shelf, and that's what's going to keep it at a silver. But if you ride one of these or you love little working mechanisms, you're going to dig this. So for sets up to 1,500 pieces, I've got to say that Pokemon is really finding its footing with this second batch. And I love that we're getting Halloween sets just like the Winter Village collection. All right, now we're getting into the bigger stuff, and this is where you start seeing more detail and sets that'll eat up a good chunk of your shelf. First up, I built this Mandalorian Starfighter a bit ago, and I've got to say it's rather excellent. The silver plating looks super premium, and the included minifigs are pretty cool. The shape looks good, and it feels really solid for such a little ship, and even the underside is finished off nicely. There are definitely more stickers than I would like at this size, even though I don't mind them too much, but the way that this looks overall is, I mean, it's still pretty great. It's definitely a gold, and it's one of the best looking ships that you can find out there. I was pleasantly surprised when this Boba Fett action figure showed up. Not only does the design look solid for something like this, but we also get a Return of the Jedi Boba Fett minifig included, which looks just as good. It might not be 100% accurate, and some of the colors might be a bit off, but given that he's built out of bricks, I still have to give it a gold. Turns out we're going to get our second Star Trek set ever, and here we have a bridge and a transporter room from the classic show. The crew of minifigs look pretty good from what I can tell. I actually had early access to these images at the time of recording, so I'll need more time to really dig into how accurate everything is. It does look like it has some interactivity as well. The captain's chair rocks back and forth, and a transporter does its transporting things. To me, it seems like a silver tiered set, so let's park it there for now. It does seem pretty cool. Okay, so it may not be the yellow and green SUV, but we do have the Jeep Wrangler at a larger scale from Jurassic Park. To me, it's instantly recognizable and really well detailed. Some reviewers weren't a fan of the way the stickers are handled, but I still think it's going to be a silver. This is definitely one of the more weird sets that we have this time around, but Pokemon has been hitting hard this year, and we're getting this crazy looking giant Pokeball with some hidden secrets. I mean, check this out. It opens up to reveal a scene that many fans would be familiar with from pretty much every game, along with a battle scene on the outside. It also has the first ever minifig versions of these characters, plus Pikachu and Eevee. I'll probably build this at some point. I'm gonna give it a gold for now. I do think the idea is fairly cool, but I do need the design to sit with me for a bit longer. Earlier this year, I built this Luigi card from the Mario Kart series, and I had a good time with it. I do like that it's a totally new design, not just a repaint of the Mario one from the year before, which was another great set. I've got to say that the cart absolutely stands on its own, and it's going to get a gold. It's probably going to depend on how much of a Luigi fan you are, though. SpongeBob is back in LEGO form, and this time it's technically for adults. Here we have the iconic bikini bottom with pretty much every building you would expect, along with the characters. I'm not a huge SpongeBob fan. I did watch it a bit when I was younger, but I do think the design here is great, and I do love all the little scenes that are packed in. For fans, this is probably a must-have, and it's another gold in the batch. This next one is pretty unique. We have a working pinball machine. When this thing works, I mean, it looks like an awesome idea, but some reviewers couldn't get the main scoring part to work right, and the colors and the ramp do look kind of busy, and the space theme does feel kind of just added on. So I'm gonna put this in the silver tier. It is a big ambition, but the reliability stuff, I think I need to see more of it to rank it even higher. If you're into classic cars, this Jaguar E-Type does have a nice design. It is a gorgeous car, and one thing that keeps coming up from what I see from others is that the green colors don't quite match across the body. So we'll pop it into the silver tier, but I do think that classic car fans are gonna love it. All right, next up, I'll tell you right away, this Dodge Charger from The Fast and the Furious is gonna end up in a bronze tier. And we've seen something like this before as well, so nothing too special here unless you're a diehard fan. And we have another team added to the F1 car lineup, this time Aston Martin. I mean, when it comes down to these, if you're a fan of the team, you're in for a fun time, but there's not much variety between each model, and they're gonna all end up pretty much in the silver tier. So with the larger sets, we do see more details. I think that Star Wars fans are gonna be pretty happy here, but overall, there is a nice mix from different franchises. Okay, now we're moving to the heavy hitters with the 3,000 plus piece sets. I mean, one of these has the most pieces of any LEGO set ever made, which is the one that we're going to kick off with. We have this iconic cathedral from Barcelona. And get this, it's going to clock in at an amazing 12,000 pieces. That officially makes it the biggest LEGO set they've ever made by piece count. The scale alone is the story here, but I mean, the overall design with the columns and stained glass look stunning from what we can see here. From the sheer ambition and the history of this thing, I'm gonna give it a platinum for now. Let's see if that holds up for the rest of the year. We are getting another version of Tower Bridge, but this time it's from the architecture line. This is a remake from a set we had 16 years ago, and I think the design is good overall. Even though it's shrunken down, it does feel more polished. Given that it's still a pretty big set, they did take some liberties here. And I'm not sure if the tiny cars help it or hurt it. I'm gonna give it a silver for now, but the more I look at it, I could see that bumping up later in the year. And I'm not sure if I'll ever get around to building this one, so we'll see. Okay, next up we have this huge helicarrier from the Avengers movies. In some ways, design-wise, it is a step up from the one that we had over 10 years ago. It does feel a bit more polished and finished. and some might prefer the original and others might prefer this one. It's gonna come down to preferences, but for me, I'm gonna give this one a bronze. I feel like it's something that can be passed up at the moment. Maybe Avengers Doomsday might change my mind later in the year, but for now, we'll keep it here. From the Technic line, this year we are getting a new large-scale premium build. If you've built one of these before, you know what you're getting into. This one does have a cool feature where the doors and hood open up with this crazy sort of mechanism. I'm going to temporarily put it in the gold tier given its excellent use of color and design, and the mechanism does look like a real treat. We'll have to see how this holds. Now, some of you might have been to this Disneyland Main Street USA attraction, which has a ton of history packed in. This is going to be cool for fans, but we only get 3 buildings for the entire Main Street. The insides are pretty shallow, and they went with this like middle stretch. I think it's good for what it is, and we'll let it sit in a silver tier for now. It's great for Disney fans and does carry a lot of memories. From LEGO Art, we are getting another 3D wall art piece, and this time it's from a famous painting called The Kiss. I've got to say, capturing the human form in LEGO is really tough, and we saw them take a swing at that with the Mona Lisa, which was pretty hit or miss. As we can see in the side-by-side, it's pretty good for what it is, but I think overall it'll still land in a silver. Now, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, or even if you're not, you've got to see this massive build. It's over 8,000 pieces and is the largest Lord of the Rings set ever made. It's taken me forever to build it, but it's been such an excellent experience. It mixes in this micro scale details on the outside, kind of like what we see in the architecture sets, along with the minifig scale for the throne room when you flip it around and see the inside. That does bring in a lot of variety. I will say that the top of the city is a little weaker than the lower levels, and the scaling does get a bit off in some parts, but those are nitpicks on an overall excellent model. To me, the experience was amazing. It's a platinum set and a set of the year contender. It's definitely a centerpiece of this whole list. There's no doubt about that. We don't always get platinum sets in the larger tiers, but this time I do think that a couple of them really earned it. It's always great to see another Lord of the Rings scene, and I think a lot of fans are going to be thrilled with this one. And the architecture fans are going to be busy for quite a while with that cathedral. But let me know how these sets would rank for you in the comments below, and of course, I've got more LEGO for adult stuff on the channel. As always, thanks for checking out the sets with me, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next one.